Because in the previous class I wasn't able to use the pen tool, I wasn't able to show you how powerful this technique can be when it is used with the pen tool. Specifically when it involves working with organic shapes, kind of like what I've sketched out here. So what I'm going to show you now is how to go about using live corners to really speed up the process of tracing out these sorts of shapes. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and trace this shape here as I normally would with the pen tool. So I'm not going to be too fussy with it just for the sake of time, but I'm just going to kind of give you a sense of the general workflow for normally using the pen tool. So I mean, it's not terribly slow or anything, but actually I'm just gonna So still relatively quickly, I was able to trace the shape. Something that I usually notice is when I'm doing it like this is very often that I get curves like are happening right here that aren't super smooth. You can kind of see the same thing over here. And I'll usually have to go in and manually change it around to get something that I think looks a lot nicer. Now that I've shown you the typical way of doing it, I'm going to show you how you can use the pen tool and live corners in tandem with each other to do it really quickly and also get a really smooth shape. So I'm actually just going to do it right now and then I'll explain it. So once I've created a shape like this, I'm just going to pull this back a little bit. So with this shape, I'm going to now use the direct selection tool and one at a time bring these corners in to match my sketch. So already you can see this is a much faster way. And I would always also put in that it produces nicer curves as well. When you let the software take care of the geometry for you, it's typically a lot nicer than if you do it by hand. Especially if I just disable the background right here. Not as many of those kind of lumps or those weird sort of edges I was getting as before. And because it's live corners, if I decide that I want to continue to play around with these curves, I can, which is always just kind of a nice benefit. So now I'm just going to backtrack a bit. Let's see, to when I had this shape here. And I also want to explain how I knew where to put this. I'm kind of envisioning where the curves are going to happen and placing these points a lot further out. So actually, I'm just going to do it even again. So I know that I'm going to have to place the point out here because because when I round this, it's going to be rounding down into this curve. And then I know that the next point I have to place is going to be on the inside of the shape here, because when I round this curve, it's going to be going this way. And this is one of those things that, like, the more you do it, the more you get a hang for it, and you kind of understand how the curves work and where you have to place your points. Because at first you might not be as quick with this as you are with the normal pen tool, but hopefully just from my demonstration you can see that it's not hard to get quick with it. And then what I'm kind of doing is just matching, just trying the best to match the curves in between the points on the shape. By the way, if you want to click here and not have this happen, hold Option if you're on a Mac, or Alt on a PC when you click here, and then you can individually do this handle. Yep, so just like that, and then as I did before. There you go. So your assignment for this class is to download this document from the resources section on this class, and to go through all 6 of these and do them just as I have done with the pen tool and live corners. It's one thing just to watch me do it and to kind of get a sense of how the technique's done, but it's a whole nother thing to actually do it yourself and get the experience of actually applying the technique, and start to develop that speed and that eye for where you need to place anchor points to get the right curve.